Hello, it is me. Oh, the music did stop. Why did it do that? Oh well, who cares? It doesn't matter. I'm here now. Whatever, man. Hi. Happy Sunday. I hope you all had a good weekend. I hope everybody's been having a good weekend. I've been vibing. I'm still weirded out by my new schedule, probably because, like, I made the new schedule, I did it for, like, half a week, and then I overloaded myself with a shit ton of work and got my period on the same time frame. And then now that's the end. This is I got one more day. I got tomorrow, and then I get a real weekend. So, I don't know. I think I just confused the shit out of myself. For reasons, it's fine. We did it. We listened tomorrow, and it's like chill Monday, so I don't have to like bash my head against a wall. I'm gonna repot this plant tomorrow. It's gonna be a good time. You notice this guy is still eking its way over, and like it stopped reaching and stretching all the way, and now it's got like a bunch of leaves now over here. Plants are fun and neat. Okay, I'm going grocery shopping after this. I made dumplings. I'm gonna try again and make them more. I didn't do a good job rolling them, so I'm gonna try that again. I'm learning how to use rice paper. I'm an adult. Are you oh yeah, I don't have my hat on. It's right here. My head crab? Is this what you were talking about? This might not be what you were talking about. Were you talking about something else? It's fine. I came across this video, and I blame Tom, because now Metatron is in my fucking mentions. And I'm not really happy. Oh, this didn't get updated. I'll fix this. It's updated on Dumbfuck Friday, but it wasn't updated on this one. That's my bad. I'll fix this. It'll be fixed after. Bye for tomorrow. Debate Hub's doing really well. Quick update for Debate Hub, or anybody's following that over there. Debate Hub is now being reviewed by YouTube for monetization. Now that can take up to a month. Assuming it goes through. It might not go through. It's not nobody panic. If it doesn't go through the first time, it's okay. We can wait a little while and then try again. It's not the end of the world. It might take a little bit of time, so don't get your panties in a twist. YouTube is a little bit unreliable when it comes to stuff like that, like a little bit inconsistent. So it's okay, it's fine, nobody panic, it's all good. But you should definitely go over there and check that out. The conversation from Wednesday was fantastic. We broke 1,000 views. We've had over 100 people watching live and engaging in the chat and having a grand old fucking time. So go and check that out over there. There's also a lot of cool stuff on the community tab making its way. So definitely check that out. Also, Flatzoid is peaked the top of Manya's shit list, but there's also a series of videos. I've added 4 videos so far of Manya going through a philosophy paper. So that's also going to be released on Debate Hub. I don't know when, but probably once I'm done. I'm probably going to try and get a couple of more edited today. So I'm gonna go grocery shopping, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna edit, and then hopefully, I might actually have to take like a week off of streaming just to catch up on the amount of editing that I have to do. I am behind, but it's okay. There is a YouTube short over there of Manya explaining some of the stuff just to help prime people's minds to get ready for what they're about to see, so, you know, there's that. But it's okay. That's okay. That's just the stuff that's going on. Those are the updates. I don't have any other updates. That's it. It'd be cool if Debate Hub gets monetized, because YouTube's been not being great about paying people, so, you know. Consider joining the Patreon if you want to offset that. So, well, I wouldn't even be taking a week off. I would just be like, I would have to take some time off streaming so I could spend all day, every day editing for a week. Hardly what I would call a day off. Okay, let's get into this. So Metatron is mad at Professor Dave. Now, it's been a hot minute since I watched any Professor Dave content, but from what I know and recall of Professor Dave, he's a chill dude. He's a chill dude. So, I don't know what the fuck Metatron is mad about. I mean, to be fair, he's mad all the time. This is only a 16-minute video, but you know how that can go. Let's fucking Yeah, I might end up spending my weekend editing instead of. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. Let's see why Metatron is 24/7 Angie. I'm just gonna mute that real quick while this, whatever this Rings of Fire is.
Hello once, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking in today.
Noble ones, this is the Metatron speaking. Hi, I'm Chesh. Fuck off. Alright, go on.
I decided to spend a little more time to clown on an absolute excuse of a fake Professor Dave. Fake Professor Dave Explains, as you know, has made a few videos.
Fake Professor Dave? Okay.
Videos about me where he decided to lie, misrepresent, strawman, insult, and all the rest. Now, I, of course, responded, showed him, okay, he lied, here is the truth, here is the receipts. No, unbelievable. Anyways, while we wait for him to make another video, which, by the way, Dave...
So he called you a liar, so you turned around to call him a liar? Ooh, the drama.
Dave, come on. Don't make me wait. The videos where we interact are some of my best performing videos lately. So, when are you gonna make another video about me? Come on, I'm waiting. Make another video.
Exposing that you're only engaging in YouTube drama for clicks and views right out the gate is a bold strategy. And also seems like a very silly way to try to bait Professor Dave. Dave has a BA in chemistry from Carleton College and a MA in science education from California State University, Northridge. Of course.
And the reason why I'm so excited about him making videos about me is because they are the easiest to debunk. It was easier to debunk him than it was to debunk the Afrocentrists. I'm just gonna say it. Because this guy does zero research, nothing. He doesn't even understand.
The irony of him saying that for like the only videos we watched of him being mad at the fucking University of Waterloo, of him not reading what it said on the thing that he was presenting and showing on the screen. Okay, sure.
Stand the concept of research. But anyways, that's all we're gonna do today. Today we're gonna...
The guy with a bachelor's and a master's doesn't understand what research is. He's showing as 1 million. Hold on, let me look at his. He's showing at 1 million subscribers for me still. So I guess maybe he's hovering it.
Clown him. We all know he made this video. Metatron is a whiny little baby, says the guy who cried.
I mean, yeah, you are. You are a while. Your entire brand is just bitching about shit you don't understand and complaining that it's, yeah, that's.
For the entirety of the video. What we are focusing on today is that I'm going to show you the source code of this video of his. Let's do it. Okay.
So you're not going to say why you're not a whiny little bitch. You're not going to look at its content to see what it says. You're pulling up the source code?
So this is the source code of the video in question, and access to the source code is going to allow us to clown him in a very specific way, which is the following. As you probably already know, we YouTubers, when we upload videos, we can add a video description, and in said description box we can add hashtags, but of course if you scroll down you get to the section where we've got the actual tags that can be added with a little comma. So for instance...
That is correct, yes.
Okay, that would be, I push comma, boom, we've got a tag, Dave is a Muppet. Also going down, you'll notice something such as category. So in my case, all my videos are categorized as education. What does he...
Why are your videos categorized as education? What? How? Why? What?
He choose, unfortunately misinformation is not one, so I'm sorry Dave, you don't have one appropriate to you, but you...
Could you imagine if there was a misinformation tag?
might think, gee, I wonder what he chooses to categorize his videos as, and I wonder what kind of tags he's going to use. There are, of
Sure, yeah, that could be interesting.
course, ways to see that by utilizing third-party apps. I don't use third-party apps, but I don't need it, because we can see it through his source code. Let's have a
This is all correct so far. He is correct about this. You can go and do this.
look. Let's look at the category first. Category education. Oh, come on, Dave. Come on. Why did you have to copy me?
That's just dumb. That's just dumb, and I'm gonna ignore it.
Why did you have to copy me? This is clearly not education when your video.
Okay, let's see. Hold on. Professor Dave explains this. The channel owner name. View count 252988. Category education. Published date 2026 0331. So that would have been April 31st. And then the time was at 18. Short eligible external VOD. Oh, upload date versus published date, so you can see that it was the same date. YouTube link, card, title card. If you ever were looking for like a high-res version, by the way, of... Yeah, that's what I said, April 31st. Did I say April 3rd? My bad. If you're ever looking for somebody like, if you like somebody's YouTube thumbnail, or you want to use their thumbnail for whatever, you can actually get the thumbnail from this. You can go and get it. It's March. Oh, right. April's the 04. My bad. March 31st. Sorry, my bad.
Well, all your video is to slander me with lies. That's not education. So already your categorization is incorrect.
No, that's based on content, or context. You can expose somebody's lies and still have that be educational. Mine is a really good example of that, where she'll spend her time. Even part of what I do is educational when I'm even when I'm talking about like low tier content, right? So even when I'm talking about somebody's low tier content, I'm still like educating people either about a person or educating people about an overall scenario, what that scenario means, and how you can, like, deal with that scenario. Right? You're talking about Metatron level content? Yeah. Right, that's all. Yes, and Megan Fox is correct. It's also not necessarily slander.
Correct. Next, but the next thing that is going to be great is the tags. So keywords... Uh-oh, here it is. Let's see what he chose. All right.
Metatron is a whiny little baby. Meta name, description, content. My recent video examining reality denying and the behavior of trolls that infest my channel, featuring a tantrum by a loser named Metatron, where I mock him f ... Metatron, Graham Hancock, Ignatius Donnelly, racism, bigot, Italian, Latin, trolls, toxic, James Tour, debunk, science communicator, expose, scientific literature, research, Carly Kirk, Flint Dibble, Zionism, MAGA, RFK, Discovery Institute, creationist, Dennis Noble, Avi Libtard. Those are the tags he used.
Content. These are the keywords that he put. Let's have a look. So we've got Metatron, fits, Graham Hancock. Oh yeah, because he thinks that I believe in Hancock's theories. Ignatius Donnelly, racism. I knew it. I friggin' knew it. Are you calling me a racist, Dave? Of course.
You're racist. We've already been over this. I'm pretty sure we demonstrated and proved last time we were talking about Metatron that he was racist, right? Like, I don't need to prove that again, do I?
He is. He called me a racist in front of the camera, as all radical leftists like him do, instead of actually engaging with my points and trying to utilize reason and logic to prove me wrong. They don't do that because he can't do that.
Being racist is wrong, and so if I can prove that you're racist, then What's the... That's argumentation. That's... Even if you don't like it.
Therefore, not only called me racist on camera, which is defamatory in nature, but he put it
So if he called you racist and it's part of the video, it makes perfect sense for it to be in the tags. Okay. Well, yeah, why is he not covering the video?
The tags. Racism, I imagine that one is for me. Then we've got bigot and Italian. I guess, am I an Italian bigot? So, I mean, let me see. Yeah. Yeah, that looks pretty, my hair looks pretty bigoted, so I'd say that's me.
What? You want to talk about something not being a fucking argument? That's not an argument. That's not logical. That's not using reason to discuss a topic. My hair looks pretty bigoted, doesn't it? What? What are you talking about?
Then Italian, that's me. For him, would I have to add fake Italian. Latin, oh yeah, the language he doesn't speak. Oh yeah, because he got pissed that I called him out for him not knowing anything how to pronounce Latin, which I doubled down on. Proved on camera once again for the world to see. Then
your big flex is that you think he can't read Latin? Oh. Okay.
he put trolls, toxic. That's for you, Dave. That's for you, okay? So I'm taking...
No, you're the one who's toxic.
Racism, bigot, and Italian. Imagine these three are for me. Toxic is himself, right? That's him. James Stewart. Then we have the word debunk, which is the one thing you couldn't do to me.
Which is why you're not showing the video.
What else? Science communicator. That's what he would like to be seen as, but will always fail to be, because what you do is not communicating science. I've proven that. Link in the description to the other videos. Let's go. Then we have exposed. Scientific literature. My gosh, how this guy can manage to be condescending even in the tags.
You had to go all the way to the metadata to go find the tags, to find something to address to be mad at, and it's so performative. This is so, like, it's...
Even in the tags, that's a superpower right there. Next, research. Yeah, the one thing you have never done, as you have self-admitted. Charlie Kirk. It was mentioned in the video because I guess he was offended that I stood against those people that laughed at Charlie Kirk's death and pushed for more violence towards the children. I imagine he didn't like
against and laughed at Charlie Kirk's death and pushed more violence towards the children. What children? Charlie Kirk was not a child.
that. Just a speculation for the lawyers out there, just my opinion based on the information available. But he did put Charlie Kirk here, okay. Flint Dibble, yeah, your buddy. Zionism, no idea what that has to do with me. MAGA, for whatever the heck reason it's here. RF...
probably because most of your positions align with MAGA, Metatron.
Discovery Institute, it's gonna get better. Dennis Noble, Avi Loeb, a bunch of names, and then we have the greatest word of all that I was not expecting to find in his tags. But here it is, the word libtard. Now,
I'm still wondering what the process was that led Metatron to make this video specifying the tags. Like, he would have had to see the video, he would have had to watch the video, he would have had to get mad at the video, he would have had to decide that he wanted to respond to the video, then he had to pick something from the video to respond to, but instead of picking anything in the video, he decided to go into the metadata to find the tags, and then made a video about that instead. Like, what is the levels of, like, fucking do that we've had to do here is pretty... Yeah, desperation is right. This does feel really desperate. And it's really, like... He seems like he's trying to, like, egg on Professor Dave. Like, he wants Professor Dave to keep responding to him because it gives him numbers, like he said at the beginning. He's like, oh, make more content about me because when you make content about me, I get more views. Right? So...
Ow. This is gonna be the best part of this video. Now, assuming that racism, bigot, and Italian were meant for me, I'm gonna have to assume...
They're tags, they're not meant for you. They're not arguments, they're tags. They're for search engine optimization, also known as SEO. They're not meant as an argument for or against you or himself. The fact that you're trying to present it as it is kind of like, that's... It's certainly a, you've chosen a direction, that's for sure.
Then, that science communicator...
Dapper, hey, Dapper, good to see you. He definitely knows how tags work. He's just got nothing. That's what I think too. Like he's going so many steps to not address or watch or talk about anything in Professor Dave's video that he had to go all the way to the tags. Like he's had to go so far.
And libtard are self-descriptive, right?
Maybe.
Am I right, Dave? Because I'm clearly not gonna be the libtard here, am I?
If it matters, I don't know why it matters. Yeah, cringe is right, man. Cool, Lee.
Man, what a cell phone. Oh, what a cell phone.
I'm really happy that the YouTube algorithm also heard that as cell phone and it wasn't just me. He's trying to say self-own.
But you know, I'm actually enjoying this. Let's check another video of his.
Are
Man,
you?
This, you know, learning what people put in the tags of their videos really tells you a thing or two.
It tells you something, but it's not what you think.
Doesn't it? This video was proudly brought to you by Professor Dave giving me exposure through his lies. So I'm so gonna use it to tell you about my recent crowdfunding for my book. Check this out.
Oh no, he's got a book. I want to know about the book.
Announcement. Check this out. You're gonna love it. As many of you know, or at least I
don't think I'm gonna love it, but I do want to know about the book.
think you know, I've been writing a book, my new journey into becoming an author. I've mentioned this on a few videos and on X, but this book was indeed crowdfunded. Now, any person who has donated or...
Bro, you made $7,000 for saying you want to write a book? Man! Sometimes I fucking hate the internet. Who's giving you money for this? Boo! ChatGPT wrote the book, written by AI. Hey, listen, I'm all down for people writing books. I'm great with that. That's fantastic. But the fact that this dude is making nearly 8 grand as of the fucking posting of this video to say he wants to write a book is fucking crazy to me.
Will donate to the crowdfunding will receive a full audiobook. And this is...
Bro, you don't even need a PC or LibreOffice. You need a pencil and paper.
crowdfunding exclusive.
You don't even need paper. You need a pencil. You just fucking write that shit on the wall.
So, as a way to say thank you to the people that have donated and supported my dream of becoming an author, if you have a minimum of $5 donation, you will receive the entirety of the audio file of the book, recorded by me with my voice, no AI involved, as a crowdfunding exclusive reward. This applies retroactively, so for all 262 donors that I've had so far, you'll get this, and anyone who decides to donate $5 or more, thank you very much. Never expected, always appreciated. Then you will be guaranteed a audio file of the book by the end of the crowdfunding campaign. Important, once the crowdfunding campaign is over, this audiobook version will not be made for sale. So this is once again crowdfunding exclusive. It's a perk. If you're interested in the audiobook, click the
fair, valid, I'm fine with this.
in the description, and thank you so much. Let's do another one. You know, I'm kind of curious, the original one. What did he say in the original one? The original description.
I thought you've been going back and forth with him, and now you haven't even watched the original video? 1 million subs, 265 donators, womp womp. I mean, yeah, that's a little bit rough, I guess.
Grace of a video as always. Alright, so. Keywords. Professor Dave talks, you know what?
He stopped fucking Stop. He went to go look at it, and then why did he leave that in the video? Whatever.
Apart from the fact that, yeah, you could have removed the comma here. You did not need the comma. Anyways, I'm gonna read them as if
They're two separate, whatever.
it was a single sentence. It's gonna be a lot more funny. Professor Dave Toxic Trump Man.
Crowdfund Chesh reading the dictionary. Yo, you guys give me $1,000 and I will record myself reading the dictionary. Surely you wouldn't be able to weaponize that and basically make me say almost anything by just fucking hard clipping it. If you give me $1,000, I'll read the dictionary in audio format and give it to you. If you give me $5,000, I'll do a thesaurus. This is childish. Yeah, this is sad.
MAGA. Maha RFK Jr., Bobby Kennedy HHS, FDA CDC, NIH, J whatever the heck, Marty Ice, Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Iran, War, Eric, well my gosh man, you spam those tags. Sabine Hosselfelder for some reason.
It's not spam if he didn't use them in the other one you looked at. That's not what spam is. And these are the metadata tags, not the ones that are like in the description.
Is here as well. James Studd discovered Institute Zionism. He really likes to put Zionism everywhere. Trolls, pseudoscience, cult. Yeah, that represents your subscribers. Brainwash, that is also excellent. Flint Dibble, man.
It's like, oh no, you.
Is Flint Dibble on every single tag? That's why he got so pissed that I exposed Flint Dibble's nonsense on my dedicated video when I attacked his argument.
This is like Dapper. This would be like people, like if Dapper used my name in his hashtags on videos that I'm involved in. And then somebody else being like, oh, you got Chesh in your hashtags. Well, yeah, I was there. What do you mean?
It's different from Dave again. He attacks me, I attack arguments.
Yeah, a bunch of these are probably default tags, you're right.
But whatever. Flint Dibble, right? Terrorists. Who's the terrorist? Because I mean, hold on a minute, Dave. What do you mean by terrorist?
Israel's terrorizing Palestine right now, so and Lebanon is being terrorized as well. So yeah, they're literally in the tags. The answer is right there.
Terrorists here.
Oh yeah, Dapper, you missed it. He says he debunked and exposed Professor Dave because Professor Dave wasn't pronouncing things correctly in Latin. The projection is strong in this one. Yeah, you're right.
Because
It literally says April Fool's thing where he was debunking himself up here.
confused. You supported Hassan Piker. On the video that you made about me, you made it very clear that both Destiny, up to a certain extent, but most importantly, Hassan Piker is based and true. That's what you clearly made us understand from defending him and saying that I should somehow be ashamed of attacking Hassan Piker. Not to
It seems to me like you're trying to say that because he agreed with Hassan Piker about something, therefore he's saying that Hassan Piker is right about everything all of the time.
mention, I also, while we're at it, I also found it hilarious that, yeah, I did attack Hassan Piker because he's a disgusting human being. But what's funny...
It's kind of aggressive, but okay.
With awful takes on the spectrum of anything he attaches. He's a violent individual. He's terrible. But what's funny is that Dave represented my attacks, fair attacks, against Hassan Piker as me wanting to own the libs. Literally.
You kind of already said the shit you did about the term libtard, so didn't you already own that, and now you're saying that's not what you were doing? Maybe I'm confused.
Literally, watch the watch my video, When Dave is showing, own the libs, own the libs. Who? Hassan Piker is not a lib. You don't even know what he is, not a liberal. Hassan Piker can't stand the liberals in his community. They're the ones that drive him nuts. He's a far leftist. He's not a liberal.
What? Am I... Am I... You guys are also equally confused. I think there was somebody defending Metatron in the Twitch side chat, so hey, can you explain what he's trying to say? I'm a little bit confused about his description of the political spectrum.
This guy, I swear, he doesn't get a single thing right. Reddit propaganda. Yeah, Reddit. Maybe that's the one thing we have in
No,
common.
not Reddit propaganda. There's a comma there. There's Reddit and then propaganda. It's not Reddit propaganda. Not that there isn't propaganda on Reddit that is Reddit related. That I probably believe that there's like Reddit propaganda. Like Karma is like dumb and doesn't fucking do anything. It's a fun little thing. But like, it's not. That doesn't say Reddit propaganda. It says Reddit propaganda.
We're both hated on Reddit. Okay. Next one. Today I'm taking you for a spin, my friends, while we wait for him to make another video so I can make another video, then can make another video, and that's gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic. His latest
Yeah, as you can see, he's only doing this for content.
one, diversity. All right, diversity. What have we got? What have we got here? Source code, keywords, excuse me. Keywords. Okay, monotremes, egg-laying mammals, platypus. Okay, zoology. Oh, come on.
Did he give up trying to pronounce the word echidna? Is that what that was?
That's not fun. What is the bigger? What is the racist?
You mean that not all of his videos are spamming the thing that you just said that they were spamming because they're not about those things, so the hashtags, he tries to keep his hashtags appropriate for what he's talking about? Like you're supposed to do? Literally just admitted that Professor Dave is the only thing keeping him relevant? Yeah. Yeah, we're almost done the video.
Well, what are you doing, Dave?
And there was an ad in the middle of it.
Dave? Seriously? 9 hours? Oh, wait. You know what? 9 hours ago, 2,000 views. That's pretty bad for him. Oh, what? What's going on with his views? So he only gets views when he... Yeah, as I...
Okay, so I'm just gonna put what he's saying to the side for a second and say that YouTube has been kind of everybody recently. So it's still not a good argument. Argument add YouTube views doesn't really mean anything. The views and likes and stuff like that is mostly, it's an illusion. Numbers are mostly bullshit. Just because a video has a lot of views, just because a YouTube channel has a lot of subscribers does not mean that the content is going to be good, valid, or worth your time. I feel like I'm wasting my time, and the video I'm watching has 14,000 views on it, 1.4 thousand likes, and I've got 6 people watching on Twitch, and I have 20 people watching on YouTube. Just for a point of contrast.
As I was explaining, he only gets views when he shits on other people.
To be fair, this is also 14,000 views from yesterday on a 1 million subscriber channel, so take that for what you will. Whatever that means.
That's proof. We know that. So, yeah, 2,000, 6,000 in a day, 3,000 in 2 days. Uh-oh.
It doesn't really mean that anything that people like drama. Of course they do.
For a 4+ million subscribers channels is pretty bad. That's awful. That's bad for me. But then again, when he attacks people and calls them idiots, he gets 200k, 160k. This is clear indication. Look at me. He insults me to 150,000. He tries to teach you about mammalian body system, 6,000 views. Of course, this...
Basic psychology.
guy. It's transitioned from whatever the heck science communicator it was trying to be and failed, as we can see still fails. No one wants to hear it, Dave. Hiyama reacts
6,000 views is still 6,000 views. Educating 6,000 people is still educating 6,000 people.
action 4,000 views. 3,000 views from the demonstrative Latin. Brother, whether it be Dave trying to teach you Latin, Dave trying to teach you biology, Dave trying to teach you science, it fails every single time. Monument.
We're back to just because it doesn't reach enough people. Like, what is the enough? Like, what do you mean? Like, when you're talking about whether or not people are being educated, how many people need to be quote-unquote educated for it to count as enough? Because that's all Metatron is doing right now. He's just throwing incredulity at the concept of, if you don't teach more people about biology than people... Because taking down Metatron, quote-unquote, doesn't count as education in any way, shape, or form, even though that's not valid. Like, we already went through that that's not valid. Or reasonable, right? Like, we know that. So... what qualifies as making content that teaches people? Does a university professor have to have a minimum number of students for them to count? And if that student number is less than 6,000, is that in a single class? Does that not count as educating people? Like, this is stupid! This is dumb!
Mentally. And I'm already struggling with views, but goodness gracious, 3,000 views? Not even me. And I have a fourth of his subscribers. So the reality is he's incentivized to become this toxic troll that he has become. Because it's...
YouTube incentivizes trolling and being toxic, yes. And being aggressive. YouTube incentivizes that. We all know that. That's why people like Metatron exist. People like Metatron fucking make content purposefully trying to egg people on, outrage, clickbait. I mean, we saw it with Dr. Witnesser. We see it with Metatron. Who was I talking about not too long ago where I was like, that's a lot of clickbait. Moose on the Loose. It's all fucking rage bait, clickbait to try to make people watch, to be angry, to force engagement, to artificially inflate numbers from, like, content versus, like, a quality versus quantity issue, and then yada, 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 right? Yada, 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 right? So, I mean, I think this is something we all know. Yeah, there's also a difference between being toxic and being unkind. Like, define toxic, right? I'm just taking him at his word. Like, let's pretend that Professor Dave is toxic for a second. So what? Right? So, like, put your because you haven't actually put together an argument or criticism against him. You're just making a statement as if that's, and then treating that statement as if it is an argument on its own. And that's not how argumentation works.
The only way he gets views, by vomiting poison. So you're not a
Okay, if he wants to compare numbers, why don't we look at the most recent video on Debate Hub? The most recent live stream on Debate Hub. If he wants to play this stupid numbers game as if it's valid, let's pretend it's valid for a second. It's not, but let's pretend it is. Let me go to Debate Hub. All right. Most recent live stream. Ta-da! The most recent live stream has 1.3 thousand views, so 1,304 views. The channel has 560 subscribers. So what's the rate on that? As opposed to this video, which has 14,000 views, but 1 million subscribers. So does that mean what I say is more valid than Metatron? Because my channel has a better view ratio? For now? Yeah, my video about Shadversity has 9.6 thousand views on it. And I have what? What is my channel at? 4,000 subs? More than 200%? Like, what do you mean? Like, this isn't a valid position. Like, it's not a valid argument. These numbers are bullshit anyway. The only thing that really matters here is more viewers, like more view numbers means that you've reached more people to view the content. It doesn't mean that the content is more or less valid. Or has more or less quality. Right? So, like, it's fucking worthless. This is a meaningless statement.
If you kept stuck to this, you could have been a science communicator. You chose not to, Dave.
No, now you're admitting that his videos that are about science communication, about biology, are science communication videos, but you're saying they don't count because that's not the only thing he does. People are allowed to do more than one thing. You're also pretending without demonstrating that his video shitting on you isn't educational in any way, when that's not necessarily true. Just because you're shitting on somebody doesn't mean you're not teaching other people about stuff. I shit on people all the time, like you, right now, but I'm still being educational about it. Why? Because I'm explaining and elaborating on numbers, reality, fucking social interactions and philosophy and all that kind of shit, because half of this is philosophy. So, like, you can still teach somebody while calling somebody else an asshole at the same time. Those aren't mutually exclusive concepts.
Also, you might want to review the tags, because if you don't write bigot, libtard, and racist, you don't get views.
I mean, but that's also against YouTube's terms of service. If you use tags for things that aren't actually in the video, that is actually against YouTube's terms of service. You're not supposed to be doing that. Yeah, Dapper's got a good point. I like to think that educating through shitting on people is basically my job. Yeah, that is basically Dapper's job. This is sort of what he does here.
That's what late Middle Ages. Ooh, I'm still gonna check this one out, but let me have a look. Davy boy.
So you have a video of Professor Dave's that you could have, like, actually gone through from an educational standpoint because Metatron supposedly knows about the Middle Ages, and that's sort of his original shtick, even though all we see is fucking punditry, outrage content from him. But, like, he could have done that, but there's only 2 more minutes left in the video, so he didn't do that.
All right.
Oh, he didn't even watch the video. He's just looking at the fucking tag. This is the worst. I'm gonna sue him for my time back.
Let me guess. You didn't put bigots and racists. Late Middle Ages, under Years' War, Black Death. Careful with that one. In England, France, Planter, UK, Joan of Arc, York. Yep. See? Regular tags, my friend, don't work. You need to put...
So you mean on videos he uses relevant tags? So when your video, the tags are probably relevant? What are you fucking talking about?
Racist, libtards, Metatron. That's what you need to put. Come on, man. Come on. What are we doing here? It's
yeah, great question. What are we doing here?
Good. So, due to the fact that his videos don't get views, unless he shits on people, I'm now expecting him to make another video about me. And that's gonna be great.
What if he's not making videos based off of just a numbers game on YouTube and has other things he's trying to do? On the other hand, also, if anything, this video is going to encourage him in the opposite direction. This is like the worst fucking bait I've ever seen somebody lay out ever.
Great. For both of us, Dave. You make it. Okay? And eventually you'll slip, by the way. You'll say something. Eventually you'll slip.
eventually you'll slip, meaning that your prior thing calling him a liar, and when you called him a liar at the beginning of this, you didn't actually show that at all, and you're still waiting for him to do that?
Because you can't control your emotions. Do it. I'm waiting. So we get those beautiful up green arrows. And number 1.
I mean, at least we know why he's here, right? Like, at least he's... What? Sorry, I'm one of the fucking things on Twitch to show. So I'm sorry, let me read this comment. If life had no end, bracket purpose, those are not the same word, reason and judgment would be void, yet beings act towards goods fitting their nature. Survival alone is not the final cause. Perfection and flourishing are. Ends are known in what things tend towards. Jesus fucking Christ. Guy, are you sniffing what you ate for dinner last night? Because that's what it sounds like. Yeah, those are certainly words in an order. Oh, God. They just had a stroke. No, that's the one Metatron supporter that decided to come by, and those were definitely words. I feel like it would take me an hour to unpack the I'm 14 and this is deep. Words are hard. Yo, you're right.
And number 2, maybe with a little animation that we get, right, when the videos do well. That's the system. Creationist, because he did, by the way, among other things, misrepresent my faith, calling me a creationist in the sense that...
Oh, are you back to a video about you?
It's normally used in America, because he said, on his video, he said that I am some kind of science denier. I deny science.
Yeah, you deny science. We already know that.
Science, guys. You liar.
Why are you zooming in on a weird, just part of his hair? Did you just fuck that up? Like, is that just a mistake and you just didn't fix it?
Said many times that my beliefs, and he cut it, but I said many times that I disagree with young earth creationists. They are still...
You can be a creationist and not a young earth creationist. You can believe the world was created without believing the earth is 6,000 years old. Oh my God.
Still my brothers in Christ, so I love you, brothers.
So you're still a Christian, or you of some sort of the Christian faith, which means you believe God created the earth? That makes you a creationist. Oh no. Okay.
And sisters, but I disagree with you politely, something that he will never be able to do, because you would have to have a base of decency in order to be...
But you're not, 1, you're not being polite, 2, you're not being decent, and 3, you're just incorrect. Like, you're just wrong. Like, again, you do not have to be a young earth creationist to believe in creation, therefore being a creationist.
Whatever. And I did specify
Whatever.
that obviously I believe in a creator, because what Christian would I be if I didn't? But my personal views on how long...
Then you're a creationist!
creator, because what Christian would I be if I didn't? But my personal views on how long it took for the earth to be created, or how, by what process or method did the maker create the environment, fauna, flora, the planet, and everything around it, I said that my views are in between old earth creationism, age gap creationism, and theistic evolution. That's where I'm at, because...
So how does that make you not a creationist? I don't see what the... So what did Professor Dave say that was incorrect? Also, yeah, what is age gap creationism? Dapper, do you know what age gap create? I've never heard of this. Age gap create... Hold on. Age gap creationism. Yeah, all he's saying is, I'm not this, I am this. Okay, gap creationism. Hold on, I found a Wikipedia article. What the fuck is this? Gap creationism, also known as... It's literally called creationism! He's saying, oh, I'm somewhere in between this creationism, this creationism, this creationism, therefore I'm not a creationist. Therefore I don't believe in Like, what the fuck? Gap creationism, also known as ruin restoration creationism, or the gap theory, is a form of creationism that posits that the 6-yom creation period, as described in the book of Genesis, involved 6 literal 24 days, light being day and dark being night, as God specified. 24-hour days. But that there was a gap of time between 2 distinct creations in the first and second verses of Genesis, which the theory states explains many scientific observations, including the age of the earth. It differs from day-age creationism, which posits that days of creation were much longer periods of thousands or millions of years, and from young earth creationism, which, although it agrees concerning the 6 literal 24-hour days of creation, does not posit any gap of time. Okay. There you go. So, you're a creationist. God. Guys, I'm not a creationist. I'm a creationist.
I'm someone who supports the science, which he lied about and misrepresented me, saying that I somehow don't believe in science, which is nonsense.
I don't think you do believe in a lot of science. I think you do deny science, because you have to deny science to be anti-LGBTQ. You regular, like, every time we've watched this fucking guy, prior to this, he's been ignoring social science. And social science is science.
But that's all he can do, is to lie, because if he showed what I say and presented my arguments, he would have nothing to attack. But let's continue. So,
which is what you're not doing. You're not showing his arguments. You're not showing what he said. You're just stating things and then being mad about the fucking tags for no reason. Yeah, this whole video is a citation needed.
Nonsense.
If you wanted Dave to continue doing a back and forth with you, you needed at least to provide something of substance in your response video. And there's nothing of substance to even respond. If I was Dave, I wouldn't respond to this. If I watched this video before putting it on, I wouldn't have watched it on stream because it's worthless. I have wasted my time. I have wasted your time. This is a wash of a stream.
But that's all he can do, is to lie, because if he showed what I say and presented my arguments,
dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow,
would have nothing to attack. But let's continue. So,
let's
I
continue.
Look forward to your next video.
The weird fucking cut. You didn't even edit this video with any kind of fucking, like, there was the weird zoom in, there's this weird hard smash cut, there's like you looking like you're gonna look at the video and then hard smash cut again.
Platypus. If you're enjoying this video so far,
Platypus? Metatron has spread his wings. Well, That was dumb. That was fucking stupid. You guys... Alright. Okay. That was... Barry! Oh, thanks, I hated that. Shad looks cooler? Oof. Rude! Alright, well... That was so stupid, a true nothing burger. Yeah, I guess I learned about gap creationism. Which I didn't know before. Well, I think I knew about it, but I didn't know that was what it was called. What was that? I feel like... Why are we here? Why did he make this video? You know why he made that video? He made it to clickbait about Dave so he could have fucking content. That's what he did. That's what it was. I mean, he kind of admitted that at the beginning and then again at the end of the video, so... Okay. Well, I do run a debate channel, so if you guys want to debate, you're welcome to hit me up for that. All right. We also have confirmed that Metatron is a creationist. Yeah, we did that. Did you guys go on a journey? Was it fun? No. All right, it's okay. I got something to help your brain.
Honestly,
I have something to help your brain. We're probably not gonna do the whole thing, but Stop Killing Games was a thing that happened. And it got their hearings. So yay! What the fuck is a rational substance? I don't know. I've heard that cheese is pretty smart. Lunch gap creationism. So Stop Killing Games, for anybody who doesn't know, we've been following it. It's been going on for like, what, over a year or two? So it finally got accepted and it got to hear its arguments in Parliament over in the EU. And it's, from what I've heard, it's done pretty well. But I've pulled up the thing so we can actually listen to it and see, instead of just pretending that we watched something we didn't and complaining about it. But I at least want to hear the opening statements. I definitely want to hear what Ross Scott says. So let's take a listen.
we are trying to prevent video games from being destroyed. We see video games not only as part of our culture, but also as products, and in both cases, worthy of preservation. But unfortunately, the practices in the video games industry are hindering both of these and threatening video games as a medium. What we hope to achieve today for you is to explain the problem, what we have done to try to fix it at least, and why we believe new regulation or new rules are necessary.
All right, I want you guys to take some fucking notes, because this is going to be how to make an argument and how to make a legal argument.
Just as it was mentioned in the beginning, we are representing European customers and consumers who have not had a voice on this issue for a very, very long time, and therefore we are very, very thankful that you are hearing us out today. And I would say that we could start with the slide deck, and I would then hand over to my colleague, Ross Scott.
Hello, I am the founder of the Stop Killing Games consumer movement, which has many shared goals with the initiative.
It is absolutely crazy to me that this is the guy fucking doing it, because like I came across this and stumbled across this and was like, wait a minute, I recognize that voice is from like old school machinima days on YouTube. So like, fuck yeah, let's go.
I'd like to clarify what it means to destroy a video game. The second slide. When we say a game has been destroyed, what we mean is a publisher has permanently disabled all copies of it that have been sold so no one can ever play them again. It would be like removing every single copy of a book or film in existence, effectively erasing it from the culture. The way this practice...
Something Star Wars Christmas special. Wait, didn't that happen? Wasn't that like the E.T. video game they did that with too? Like the E.T. video game was so bad that like people were like, somebody who was like in charge of it was like going around buying up copies and like burying them in a pit. Like, is that not a thing that also happened?
Practice works is first a publisher sells a copy of a video game. However, it has been designed so that it must connect to the publisher in order to function. This acts as a potential kill switch. The customer is also given no information when the game will stop working, even though the publisher has decided to assume that responsibility. Then, after an undisclosed length of time, the publisher disables all existing copies of the game but keeps the customer's money. The publisher also enacts countermeasures to ensure repairing the game repairing the game is almost impossible, even for experienced software professionals. From this point onward, no customer can ever run the purchase again. Besides destroying the game, this practice is also subverting customer expectations. Most video games can work indefinitely, which has been the customer standard for half a century, including ones that connect to the internet. Alternately, a small number of video games operate as subscription services, but those inform the customer exactly when their access ends at the time of payment. The games we're referring to do no such thing. It's a bit of miscommunication. They almost always contain terms stating they can end at any time for any reason. What this means is customers have no real protections when they buy games like these. They are unable to keep them and they are not informed when they will end. This behavior would be outrageous in other industries. If you bought a book in a store, the publisher cannot come into your home and take back your book at will. If you bought an insurance policy, you would be informed when...
I actually think this needs to be applied to, like, Amazon when you, quote-unquote, get, like, buy... And YouTube, when you buy a movie, you're really just renting it. And I think that kind of needs to just go away. Like, if you want to have, like, an online rental store... I think that's fine, but like the way Amazon does it and the way YouTube does it, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like it.
That policy ends. Not that the seller could end it at any time for any reason, but still keep your money. The games being sold this way are operating similar to scams. Publishers know customers expect video games to last, so they sell these in the same way as ones that can work forever, as a one-time purchase with no expiry date, then price them the same. Publishers know that if customers were informed exactly when they plan to disable their games, that would reduce sales, since the longevity of a game affects how much customers are willing to pay. The industry is trying to have it both ways, finding ways to say they're selling you a game that they're not selling you. Yeah. This creates confusion for everyone involved and is part of why it's taken customers so long to get exposure on this practice. The legality is also unsettled. Earlier, members of Parliament assisted us in asking questions to the EU Commission about how legal the terms in game license agreements were, especially being able to terminate them at any time for any reason. The Commission stated Directive 93/13 EEC prohibits unfair terms causing a significant imbalance in the parties' rights and obligations to the detriment of consumers. The Commission...
That's actually kind of huge. If it is determined that the terms of service in video games is applied this way or is deemed like an illegal document or like a not applicable document, that type of thing can like start to eke into things like Microsoft, website usages, any type of like social media platform stuff. So like YouTube and stuff like that. Interesting.
Also recommended consumers file complaints with businesses across member states through the European Consumer Centers network.
So like if you want an example, so we've covered a lot of harassment, right? In the past, we've talked about people who are using YouTube channels to harass other people. And YouTube, on YouTube terms of service end, YouTube says, you're not allowed to do this. This is against terms of service, and we can and will just delete your channel if we feel like it, right? And they don't usually follow through on that kind of stuff, but it is written into the terms of service. But if YouTube wants to say, be able to unilaterally delete somebody's YouTube channel and their work on YouTube and potentially their source of income and their job, then YouTube ought to also be taking on the responsibility of being consistent with its enforcement. Right? So, because YouTube wants to have its cake and eat it too. right? It wants to be able to have as many people on the platform without actually having to do anything, without actually having to do any work or invest any money in ensuring that these things are followed, but also wants to just be able to hold all the power in the situation, which could be considered an imbalance. So yeah, it's problematic. It's really tricky. It's really not as easy as it seems, and even from a legal perspective, it is. And like, as we see, YouTube has removed some people's content but not deleted their channels when it comes to harassment, even though a court order may or may not say otherwise. So it's sticky.
In 2024, we had volunteers across the majority of EU countries.
Sorry, and the reason I bring up YouTube as the example here is because when I say that this kind of stuff could be extrapolated to other places. So, like, just because this is happening in the Stop Killing Games movement doesn't mean it's only going to be applicable to video game publishers, right? Or video game designers. So it's going to... There's a push and pull here, and things that happen here could be applicable across other places.
Consumers file complaints with businesses across member states through the European Consumer Centers network. In 2024, we had volunteers across the majority of EU countries submitting complaints against the French company Ubisoft for disabling the game The Crew. The responses we received from the ECC network were extremely inconsistent. Some officials said there was nothing they could do. Others said the company was required to run the game indefinitely, which is unrealistic. But the majority stated there was no clear regulation on this practice. We were independently able to get thousands of complaints submitted to consumer agencies in France and Germany, but there still has been no decision on them on the legality either. To the best of our knowledge, no one in the EU has ever been compensated.
Sorry, I'm just double checking the date on some of these. Game, Crowns, Marvel Avengers Academy, Defiance 2050, Devillion, Super Monday Night Combat, Air Mech Arena, and Assassin's Creed Identity, Thumb Age, Tinyco, Treon Worlds, Treon, Uber Entertainment, 2 Ubisoft, PC, Android, PC, PS4, Xbox One, PC, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, iOS, and Android. Okay.
For this and hundreds of other titles. In short, governments in EU countries are not sure how to handle this situation, and customers are overwhelmingly not being compensated for the loss of their purchases. It is an ideal situation for clear regulation. This is not a new practice. It started approximately 2005 and began negatively impacting customers for them around 2010 onward. However, it often affects a minority of customers whose complaints can get lost in the system. It wasn't until a large case affecting millions that any attempts to get government attention were possible, and there still is no answer. The EU Commission says this must be handled on a case-by-case basis, but this practice is extremely widespread. Future slides. We have formed an amateur study examining over 1,100 video games that require a connection to the publisher. The majority of these have been deliberately disabled by the publisher, with many of the rest still at risk of being destroyed. Under the strictest interpretation of what it means to disable a game, the study found that out of over 400 titles, publishers disable a customer's purchase 93.5% of the time when ending support. This business practice is responsible for more destruction to the medium than anything else by an enormous margin.
That is big.
There is also a strong correlation between this practice and the size of the publisher, as most small studios do not engage in it, as it requires far more resources, work, and liability than they can handle. So even though this impacts a minority of games, it disproportionately affects customers due to the scale of the largest offenders. From sales figures, it impacts tens of millions of customers, minimum in the EU. This impacts developers as well. This may seem obvious, but based on interviews and feedback, we found the majority of game developers do not support having games they've worked on destroyed. They can spend...
Oh, you're surprised that you mean the people working on something for years and years and years don't want it to just get fucking yeeted out of existence? This is something that, like... This isn't something that just affects video games. This is something that affects a lot of media, and particularly, like, big corporate media. So, for example, recently, Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? there was like a new one coming out where they're all teenagers or whatever, and Paramount, it was done by Paramount because Paramount owns the IP, and Paramount was they were originally told that it was supposed to get a theatrical release, and then they were like, nope, you're not getting a theatrical release, we're actually going to put it on Paramount Plus. And I suspect that the reason they were putting it on Paramount Plus is because Paramount Plus has fucking lost so many subscribers because they canceled Colbert for political reasons. Right? Due to political pressure from the Trump administration. So, like, if anything was going to bring back Paramount Plus watchers, subscribers, it's gonna be Avatar The Last Airbender. So they knew it was gonna, so they made some excuse that they were like, oh, well, you know, it's not gonna make money in theaters. Bro, it would have made money in theaters. They just wanted more people to subscribe to fucking Paramount Plus specifically for Avatar The Last Airbender because that's the fucking demographic, right? So there's that. But a whole thing came out, and there's been a whole big old discussion about because it leaked. So people were like, fuck Paramount, we're gonna watch the leaked version of it, so nobody's gonna fucking go to Paramount Plus to watch it. And some people are arguing, yeah, but what about the developers? What about the developers? Well, in the video game industry, the developers are like, yo, fucking, we want people to see the shit we made. I think saying like and then the argument for Avatar: The Last Airbender is like, oh, you should go to Paramount Plus so that way you like the developers get paid. It's like, bro, they already got paid, and they're getting paid shit anyway. Like, it's just like, it's a bad fucking, it's a whole bad like situation, and bleh, don't like
years
it.
of their lives creating them. But they are often not the ones making these business decisions, and sometimes even sign non-disclosure agreements, so they cannot voice their opinion on the matter. The main point I hope that does not get lost in this hearing is this initiative welcomes any solution that will solve the problem of video games being destroyed on this scale. We want this to be as easy.
Yeah, Templar's right. Templar's got it. It would help regulate laws on digital ownership and legality. Yeah. Laws around digital ownership are a little bit sketchy, a little bit inconsistent, a little bit wiggly.
And as practical as possible for all parties involved, and are very open to how that is achieved. We are not even asking publishers to change their business or monetization models, only that once they end support, they do so in a responsible way. Our only goal is to prohibit this destructive practice and thus obtain basic protections for consumers and the medium as a whole.
Next, I would like to address the honourable members on a huge issue that we faced during the campaign, especially the start of the campaign, the fact that the whole discussion is very unclear because the technical solutions are so difficult and there's also a lot of pushback by the industry. So I'd like to raise to some proposals we've seen from the industry to masquerade as proposals, but are simply unrelated to our issue wholly.
Ooh, I like that.
Some examples of these are clear labelling, minimum support times, and voluntary end-of-life plans. These are not solutions, nor are these even compromises. They do nothing to fix the problem of games being destroyed in its essence. As far as labelling goes, most customers are aware of the problem, but each game is unique creative work and technical work. There is no substitute for each one any more than a book or a piece of music can be substituted for another. Their uniqueness is the entire appeal. So customers can feel carried into license agreements they would otherwise never agree to because they have no other option if they wish to experience the game.
Same thing applies to social media. So like Twitter terms of service, YouTube terms of service, there's no real, it's a part of it's a monopoly issue.
They are agreeing in absence of any alternative to playing games.
Yes, planned obsolescence. Nailed it.
As for minimum support times, this is unrelated to our issue. The same goes for notices of when games being shut down. We have no problem with publishers ending support at all. Anytime they wish, we only ask that they do so in a responsible and reasonable way.
So this is like the big shutdown for World of Warcraft. right? When like vanilla World of Warcraft was shut down, it was a big deal and people were sad. Nobody's saying that you have to keep support for servers indefinitely forever. They're saying is that the things need to be like left in a functional way that if I want to run like a server amongst my friends, I can do that.
Finally, the option of voluntary end-of-life plans is quite literally the state where we're in now. While we appreciate when this does happen, our research shows it happens only about 4 to 6% of the time, and these conditions are exactly what led to getting over 1 million EU citizens to sign the initiative itself, requesting the EU government to address the problem.
So if you didn't understand what that means, it means they're suggesting a solution that is identifying the problem we're saying is a problem.
Appealing to government is not our first attempt to solve this. There have been multiple attempts coordinating thousands of people to contact companies such as EA or Ubisoft, the European company from France, now residing in Canada, so far as back as 2016. In every instance, there was a refusal by companies to allow customers to retain their purchase, in some cases even actively taking their games from their libraries. A statement made by the
Yeah, that's so bad.
European lobby group, Video Games Europe, of which companies like EA, Ubisoft, Roblox and others, so the really big players in the video games industry here in Brussels and globally, are part of, about the movement, has said as much. They not only mischaracterized what was being asked for with endless support, something the movement has never sought, but also claimed one of the reasons for disabling customer purchases is that they represent competition to official versions. I translate this. It is a business model to shut down the game to get players to play their next game.
Yeah, right. So, like, we're shutting down Overwatch so you buy Overwatch 2, for example.
Except we're exclusively talking about games with official...
Or a better example, because I don't think did they shut down Overwatch to get... I don't know if that actually happened. That was just the first thing that popped in my head. Was shutting down the original World of Warcraft servers so people move on to the next World of Warcraft game.
Versions are disabled. In other words, the industry is claiming that customers playing old games could reduce sales for new games, thus they should be free to disable their purchase. Not only do we disagree with this reasoning, but we find this entire stance extremely customer hostile and unacceptable in regards to what the European Union outlines as its purpose and its track record of protecting its consumers and outlining clear market rules, so there is no uncertainty for companies, which could also harm innovation, especially for smaller studios.
Yeah, this needs to be clear for everybody. Yeah, it's better for everybody if everybody knows what the fuck is going on. You hear that, YouTube? It's better for everybody if everybody knows what the fuck is going on.
Their stance has been very consistent that customers are not entitled to keep their games purchases, nor be informed when they will be taken back from them. We're happy to work with publishers in solving this problem in any way that addresses their concerns, but there's been a flat refusal by the publishers, and I must press this. There is no monolithic industry. It is the big publishers in the most part, and even there, from Poland, GOG, the creators of Cyberpunk are an exception to this issue, large exception to this issue. We have exhausted all other avenues for trying to get this problem solved, hence why we're here today. It is our sincere hope that the honourable members and the Commission are going to be able to find reasonable solutions for all parties involved.
Thank you very much. Greetings, Your Honors. Thank you for your attention. I'm Professor Alberto Hidalgo Ceres.
Devs are okay, it's marketing. It's not the marketing team, really, that's doing most of this a lot of the time either. This is, like, decisions that are being made by, like, business suits and, like, people who are running statistics.
At University San Pablo CEU Madrid, a PhD in law, Jean Monnet professor dedicated to consumer law harmonization, especially on digital consumers. I am a member of a European Law Institute as well, among any other associations. We're getting a little bit short on time, so I'll be fast with my intervention. Thank you. It is based on 3 basic points. First one, we've got it on the screen right now. We're seeking for a rebalance, for an adequate consumer protection in the digital single market. We are addressing what we consider an unfair practice. When a game is functional, it should not cease to function as a result of a deliberate and avoidable decision. This raises concerns on planned digital obsolescence, where products are rendered unusable despite remaining technically viable. Under the current framework, national authorities are reaching divergent solutions, which
This is an example of when the government regulation needs to step in to do its job, not to prevent or stop capitalism, quote unquote, from happening, but to enable capitalism to happen in a way that is conducive to capitalism.
undermines legal certainty for the EU consumers and fragments the digital single market. In the lack of an action, we may end up reaching incompatible solutions among the 27 countries. There is thus a clear need for harmonizing rules, a common European approach necessary to ensure fairness and consistency. Second, please, next slide. Second, European Union as a global leader in consumer protection. Nowadays, it is almost impossible to develop as a full citizen without being a consumer, even more a digital consumer. We all buy goods and services in our daily lives, taking part in the single market with a high level of protection. In the end, it's easy to see. Protecting European consumers is protecting European
I keep hearing them whispering next slide because I haven't moved the slide.
citizens. Primary EU law remains constant in security.
I wonder if they have this available in a way that I can edit it for them.
A high level of protection for consumers at the maximum legislative level in the EU law. For instance, Charter of the Fundamental Rights of the European Union, Article 38, Union policies shall ensure a high level of consumer protection. Or the Treaty of Functioning of the European Union, Article 12, consumer protection.
I like this guy.
Requirements shall be taken into account in defining and implementing other Union policies and activities. Or 169, in order to promote the interest of consumers and to ensure a high level of consumer protection, the Union shall contribute to protecting the health, safety and economic interest of the consumers. There's a lot more, but we're keeping it easy. What we want to stress is simple. This is a call from the primary EU law that we should not miss. Third and final, real example of the terms and conditions. Now, as proof of the problem...
It's like, bro, why'd you put that phone on top of my notes?
Please, next slide. Now, as proof of the problem, here's a real case and user license agreement clause. Company, Zenimax, Bethesda. Game, Fallout 76, clause 7, termination. Zenimax may terminate this end user license agreement at any time, for any reason. Upon termination by Zenimax for any reason, all licenses granted in this agreement with respect to
or no reason
the game, blah, 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 shall immediately terminate, and you must immediately do point 1 and 2. Point 1, permanently destroying all copies of the game in your possession, and 2, removing the game client from your hard drive. We believe in the end that this practice is unfair for the European consumers and incompatible with the aforementioned articles from the primary EU law. Therefore, we are kindly asking your honors to stop this kind of unfair practices. Thank you very much for your attention.
And if you're not in the EU, this is going to have a ripple effect.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Since we're
Canada will also likely adopt this.
out of time, I'm just going to say that my name is Marcin Patrick. I'm attorney at law, president of the Intellectual Property and New Technologies section of Krakow Bar Association and member of Legal Tech Institute of the Polish National Bar Association. And I'm here to answer any legal questions, in particular these related to the intellectual property law matter. And I'd like to add that the European Union has a long-standing tradition of advocating for consumer rights. That is why, on behalf of 1.29 million of EU citizens, I ask you to grant both consumers and the cultural heritage in the form of video games to grant the protection they deserve. Thank you.
People have fought for so long to have video games be considered art. It seems like it should at least... Once you are determined to be considered like a creative, artistic medium, it would follow that you would have the same regular protections that any other piece of media has.
We listened to all of your arguments perfectly well, and now, of course, we have the moment for the members of the parliament to come in, ask questions, but also comment.
In my previous time as an IMCO member, I was responsible for the legislation on the right to repair. And it was just mentioned that the right
right to repair, let's fucking go.
repair is not the right approach to the issue at hand. Hence, I would also rephrase it, whether we do not need, in particular for software and digital content, something like a right to resurrect. That in a situation where repair cannot be done, it has to be done in a way that licensing terms and others have to be looked at once they are basically expiring because a game is dead, that we then let it resurrect and have neglected software being reactivated, and whether that is a way to look at it.
Listen, I would just love it if let's take one of the examples of a game where this seems like it's impossible to do is like a live service game like CS:GO or League of Legends. And so when there's an update to the game, the prior fucking versions of the client and of the game are no longer available. How fucking fun would it be for prior versions of the game to be able to be downloaded where you could host your own server? So if I wanted to play Season 2 League of Legends with me and like 10 other people, and we're just like playing crazy garbage, I feel like you should be able to do that. Like, that doesn't seem, like, it would probably be impossible to go backwards and make something like that available now. But going from here forward, where it's like, so we've moved on with the game, but here's the fucking files that you need if you want to download them from our website or whatever the fuck. Right? Like, it does not seem like it should be that impossible to do. You know what I mean? Like, there are people that still have, like, the old clients because they never updated their client. But then the client is trying to load to a server that it can't connect to. But you should be able to fucking load it to another server. I mean, that's basically what people were doing with when they made Vanilla WoW available as, like, a fan thing. Right? So just making that accessible for all of these kinds of games would be great, and I don't think it's that big of an ask. Again, it might be impossible to do it retroactively, but going forward, it just doesn't seem like this is that big of a deal.
Also done from a legal term, like we did it with the right to repair. Second, I was wondering whether minimum guarantee periods could help us. Consumer protection law in the EU knows 2 years minimum guarantee period. That won't help here. But we have member states like the Netherlands that have an eternal guarantee period for the functioning of a product. And when we are revising consumer protection rules and we look at minimum guarantee periods, whether the matter could also be addressed by...
It's like how it's not illegal for fucking Photoshop to change to a subscription-based, but it would be kind of cracked if they tried to delete every version of Photoshop that ever existed from before that model.
An eternal guarantee period or a longer guarantee period for such products. Third, and that is a different mindset, I like the comparison that you made with books and how we basically would react as citizens 1.0 if something comparable would happen to printed products. Don't we need for video games also something like a Project Gutenberg, something like a public library in which also video games are provided open access as a public service? And from that...
Ooh, that's an interesting idea. I don't hate that idea.
Moment on, we do not look at it anymore from a private angle, but a public service angle, and that is also changing our ways of how to regulate it. Thank you.
So on the 31st of March 2026, the French consumer organization brought a legal action against Ubisoft before court, following the closure of the servers of its online racing game, The Crew. This unilateral decision rendered the game completely unusable, depriving consumers of any use of a game that they had already purchased, without ever having been informed of any expiration date, to put it this way.
You make a good point about like the IP and copyright, and like that's all fine and good. There's the thing is like when you're talking about like open source, you're talking about the code, not the IP, right? So if So if I say, here's the programming for Crash Bandicoot, I'm not giving you open access to Crash and that Bandicoot design, but I am giving you running and jumping and the mobility of the game and how the game functions. So it's the same if I whip out my Dungeons and Dragons book. If I pull out my Dungeons Master's Guide, right? Let me just pull this out for a second. Let me just whip this sucker out. The copyright that Hasbro actually owns is not the D20 system, right? You can absolutely make money on open source tech. You absolutely can make money on open source tech. So, there's things in this book that was printed by Hasbro that Hasbro owns. So, but it's not everything that's in the book, right? So I might be able to pull up, for example, table rules for running the game, right? Oh, rolling attacks and damage, table talk, who lets their players do this? You can do whatever the fuck you want, right? Like, it says not, they don't own whether or not you're allowed to talk at the table while you're playing a game. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not an IP. But they own, for example, Volo. So if I go over here and pick up, hold on, let me grab another example. If I grab Volo's Guide to Monsters, right, and I flip open fucking, and I pull up, let's see, where are you? No, hold on. Give me, what do we see? I mean, there's Kobold. Tucker's Kobolds. Give me Giants. Alright? Hasbro doesn't own the concept of people that are big. Like, they don't own Giants. They don't own that. What they do own is, like, the stat block. Like, the specific, not the rules that design the stat block, not the how you roll the game, but this very particular wording and block of statistics that this specific giant has. And you'll notice this giant also has a very specific name called Cloud Giant Smiling One. So you would not, if I had a giant in a game, Hasbro can't fucking sue me because they don't own giants. Yeah, fucking Nintendo trying to own the Pokeball. Like, you can't own stuff like that. There are rules around game rules that are you cannot own. That's why Hasbro doesn't. If Hasbro could, if Dungeons and Dragons could own the D20 system, they would, and they can't. It'd be like saying fucking like a game company is allowed to own the D6. Like, you don't get to own a 6-sided dice. That's not how it works. Right? You don't own the rules. That's the whole thing, the big thing that went on with, like, the Dungeons and Dragons 1 or whatever the fuck, when they try to fucking do a bunch of bullshit. Now, if I pull out a different thing, so for example, if I pull out, something that's less of, like, the rules and how to function, and I pull out, like, Descent into Avernus, right? This is a setting book. This is a book that is a campaign. So this they would own more of because they own these characters that are in the book and these particular descriptions of these particular places. But if I play a game and I'm like, so they went to hell, fucking Dungeons and Dragons doesn't own hell. Like, you can't sue me for saying that an adventuring party descended into the 9 hells. They don't own that shit. It's just like some of the gods they don't own either. Right? Like, it's just straight up not how it fucking works. So, like, they might own these specific maps. They might own the very specific, they might own the Thavius Krieg, because that's a specific person. They own Baldur's Gate, but they don't own a setting that you just, like, work out on your own, still utilizing the D20 system, right? So if I make a game that is Crash Bandicoot in its functionality, that does not mean that Sony can come at me, because the character might not be Crash Bandicoot, the storyline might not be Crash Bandicoot, and the maps that they're on are not identical. So you'd have to, like... So having an open source for an older game should not run into IP issues and copyright issues. Anyway...
Will the Commission consider supporting the case on the side of the consumer organization and support the referral to the Court of Justice of the European Union to ask for clarifications on the Unfair Contract Terms Directive, which the Commission previously identified was unclear in situations where a game is unilaterally rendered unusable by the video game publisher? And furthermore, many major video game titles have met the same fate, including Anthem and Concord, leaving European consumers with
R.I.P. Anthem.
no recourse. And will the Commission commit to addressing this issue, the issue raised by the Stop Destroying Video Games European Citizens Initiative, through the Digital Fairness Act later this year? And if not, what assurances can the Commission give that this issue will be addressed through legislative action? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm not usually in any of these committees, but I thought to come for the side quest. It is dangerous to go alone into the digital future without clear consumer protections, and I don't want to set the world on fire, but the truth is that the way we own media has shifted into something that's very sus. Too often, citizens buy a game...
Alright, first off, just don't use so much meme language, please, when you're... Please, why? Why are you doing this? But you're correct.
to find out that the cake is a lie. You buy a game you hope
No!
to cherish for years, but then one day it's suddenly gone. You think, shit, here we go again. When a publisher pulls the plug...
Stop! Why are you talking in memes? You know what? She worked really hard. She worked really hard on this, alright?
We realize that our princess is in another castle. Our libraries are emptied. It's like we've died of dysentery. As we've heard, currently players are forced to see the purchases that they made completely vanish. We should not have to endure and survive a marketplace where our purchases, which are often masterpieces and they bring so much joy, are treated as disposable. We cannot allow digital preservation to take an arrow to the knee. So,
she's right. She's right. She's right.
The petition was started to address all of these issues, and it is super effective.
I should have tried to count them.
Let us, therefore, congratulate over 1 million citizens who signed it with one clear message to the EU. Don't be sorry, be better. It's time to finish the fight. We must ensure that even when companies move on, the virtual worlds we paid for remain still alive. Let us praise the sun on a new era of digital rights so that for the gamer of the future, it isn't simply game over. If some colleagues think that I've lost my mind a little bit, these were all video game references. I just wanted to thank the petitioners and say that the Greens EFA group stands here in support and hope that the Commission takes seriously these very practical suggestions that you brought today. Thank you.
We wanted to let you know we were taking you seriously by not by taking the most unserious fucking part of your goddamn video game culture. Oh! You know what? I appreciate it. Thanks. I hate it, but I love it. But I hate it, but I love. I have mixed feelings about this. Well done. Very good job. Well put together. You know what? Good shit. On the other hand, I feel like I'm taking psychic damage.
I feel so old, I didn't understand your references.
An IP right.
Most of those references are very old, so this is not an age issue. This is more of a This is more of a cultural difference.
Holder is free to commercialize their IP for as long as they want. This is related to how long they want to make profit out of an intellectual property. This is making the following actions: reproduction, this is selling copies, distribution, communication to the public, etc. The consumer is not affected, as the consumer doesn't make reproductions, distribution, communication to the public, etc. He just paid the full price and plays the game. That's all.
Right.
He doesn't use IP rights. Anyway, IP law is not absolute, we must remind, and I quoted Article 12, consumer protection requirements shall be taken into account in defining and implementing other union policies.
I personally think that there are copyright and IP, like there are issues with copyright and IP laws. I think they unfairly protect major markets and unfairly kneecap smaller creators. But that's like a whole big fucking ball of fuck, so I won't go into it here.
And activities. That includes IP as well. We're only asking to not destroy. A consumer keeping his, her own book, album, game doesn't hurt IP rights, given the fact that he paid a full price for the game in the first place, fulfilling the very goal of IP, which is making profit.
Which is exactly what we talked about earlier, where making something public and open source when it comes to programming does not step on IP rights or copyright rights. So like Mega Man, for example, is go right, jump and shoot. You know what else goes right and jumps and shoots? Mario. When he gets a fire flower. Go right, jump and shoot. What does Samus do? Goes around, jumps and shoots. You can't own platforming, right?
That's all. Thank you.
There's rules that you're not... I think the rule of thumb... maybe I'm going to get this wrong, so forgive me if you're a professional in this, and I am not. You can't own game mechanics. Is basically what I'm getting at. And the mechanics in a game is written into its programming when it comes to the digital and virtual space in that regard.
If you wouldn't mind, I would now answer the question regarding the high cost of offline patches and curbing innovation. We are not asking to preserve games retroactively. What we are asking for primarily is game preservation. So this cannot be retroactive. This has to go into the future. So we ask the publishers to already start with the design process. So to design a game not to be basically switched off and be part of planned obsolescence. From our point of view, of course, if we would grandfather in games, of course, they weren't designed to have that requirement. That's why we are not trying to be unreasonable.
Yeah, if it's available, then that would be great, and it would be a really good faith thing for developers to do for consumers and gamers. That would be great, but that's not what they're here to do. That's not what anybody's asking for, yeah.
Reasonable. Would we want all games to be preserved? Of course. Games that were developed 20 years ago still function. Games that were developed 3 years ago, as it was mentioned before, don't. It's a design decision. It's a business decision, and in terms of curbing innovation, I'm sorry, but it's always if you have a golden goose and someone takes it from you or tries to regulate it, you will always say, "Oh, this will curb my innovation," just as it was, for example, with USB-C and Apple, or how it was with, for example, seat belts in cars. Before seatbelts were introduced, the whole industry in the 70s or 60s, I believe, was screaming, "Oh, this will curb our innovation, and this will be such a huge problem," and until the regulation hit and we started having seatbelts in our cars, airbags, everything else. We are not trying to engage their business model or create issues for them. They will get their money. They can keep using their business and monetizing however they want. Just please, once you stop supporting the video game, please do not destroy it. And that can be part of the design process. That doesn't have to be part of their business decision. Thank you.
Yeah, he's right.
I'd like to add a little bit on the economic aspect. Again, when planned for from the beginning, the cost can be very small. It's mostly about when it's undoing that's more of a cost related.
Right.
Earlier the game Concord was mentioned. That's actually an excellent example because it's publicly stated that at least 370 million euros were spent developing that game, and it did not include an end-of-life plan like what we're seeking. Most of the cost for developing games tends to come from other areas like art assets or marketing. This is just...
Marketing is one of the biggest portions of a budget for video game development.
One element out of hundreds that already go into making a game. The other thing is sometimes industry costs or estimates of how much this would cost can be faulty because they're expecting the game they're asking for to have every last feature it did while it was being supported. And many of those can be retired and don't even make sense for a game that's no longer being supported, like administration or anti-cheat measures or account management or things like that. So that can drastically, there can be hundreds, or known as microservices, associated with these that can be disabled and the customer still has the core game. So that should be taken into account when figuring out the potential cost.
Basically like asking, hey, we want our game to be functional, but you're not going to be able to use the chat system. What chat system? I don't want the chat system, I want the game. The game is part of chat, the chat is part of the game. Yeah, but it's not a necessary part of the game.
And it might have been mentioned earlier, but we also want to emphasize the companies have been paid already.
D-Spec said eventually game consoles will just start having time bombs in them, and after a few years they'll self-destruct. I feel like that's going to happen with phones and then game consoles.
Once for the working game, so that should be factored into the budgeting. There were some other points mentioned on the right to repair, whether we need it and how long a product should work. With right to repair, that's a little bit different issue. Well, that's certainly welcome, having the right to that. As I mentioned in my presentation, there are deliberate countermeasures to prevent repair. That it's almost a small miracle when it does happen from extremely experienced software professionals for resurrecting a game. However, if there were repair instructions, that would be very welcome. I think we would even consider that a viable alternative to what we're asking.
Yeah, realistically, when I say something along the lines of if League of Legends, prior versions of League of Legends were made available, a website, like wherever they're available with a website of implementation of like, hey, this is how the programming works, would be fucking amazing. That would be incredible. Like, yes, please. So that way, if I want to, I can, even if I have to like pay an amount of money to buy it. If I'm like, hey, listen, I want this older version of League of Legends, and they're like, yeah, sure, give me $5, I'd be like, yeah, here, take my money, and then I can download it, and then I have it, and it comes with the instruction manual, like a ROM, or like the way an emulator works. Like, that'd be amazing. And then if Riot doesn't want to have that, like, sitting in their hard drive somewhere, or on the website somewhere in the hard drive that you're downloading from, they just put it in the library, and I could just go to the library and get it for free? That'd be great!
If it was practical to resurrect the game that way. And for how long it should work, it's kind of again, the customer standard is indefinitely, as long as they keep the game in good working order on their end. And we're not trying to hold any publishers responsible for updates that break things that wasn't their doing. So how long they choose to support it, we're completely open to. I mean, I think there's already existing EU regulations on that, but I mean, as far as we're concerned, they could end support the next day, but as long as the game isn't destroyed, we would find that acceptable. And the last point on the, for doing this through the existing, just doing this through the courts, through the legal action, that still doesn't get to the heart of the matter of the game itself being destroyed. We're not really refunds.
Even if you refund me for the game that you destroyed, which is kind of absurd to think about from a developer standpoint and from a consumer standpoint, going through the legal system doesn't bring my fucking game back.
And compensation, those are a secondary measure that when the game itself can't be reinstated,
That should be the measure of when things go wrong, not when that shouldn't be operating as intended.
Want the game preserved, so doing it through the existing framework doesn't quite get us there necessarily.
Maybe if I could add to this, doing this individually for every game in every court, can you imagine?
With every
That's
person?
why we are asking for regulation and harmonization on a European level.
Yeah.
So that we have the same playing field. Choisy was mentioned. Legal action in France, that was one game, thousands of players, and it took several years to deal with this. Can you imagine this done 10,000 times in courts? This is not a viable way forward, and that's why we are sitting here.
Very quickly on the right to repair. Sadly, we as consumers don't have remedies of our own. That's the first thing. Second one, end user license agreements prohibit any action. And third, consumers don't even have the right to do so. They don't even have the right to repair their games. It's not included in the directive as it is right now.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I want to address the questions regarding IP and consumer law. Consumers in European Union who purchase digital versions of video games cannot benefit from the same level of consumer protection as those who purchase physical copies.
Hard copies.
The problem is that the distribution of the physical copies of the video games basically doesn't exist anymore. Even if an individual purchases a disc copy, it often does not contain the entire video game, and it requires connection to the publisher's server. And this only confirms that we live in fully digital era. If Madonna was to...
You know that thing that we all fucking complain about when you load up a game for the first time and it's got to download? Yep. That.
Record material again, she would think...
I'm literally bitching about my fucking Nintendo Switch wanting to do an update because I'm playing fucking Pokemon Fire Red, which is a port. What the fuck are you updating? There's nothing updating. Stop doing that.
We live in the digital world. So since we all agree that we live in an era in which digital content is distributed digitally without tangible medium, we must also agree that the consumers who purchase digital content, such as video games, must be protected the same or at least similar way as consumers who purchase...
I want the bugs! I want bugs in my games! I like bugs! I like finding bugs! It's fun! If it breaks the game in its entirety, then you have a different problem in your hands. You shouldn't have fucking released it that way. But like, it's fine. It's like there was a fucking, I got really frustrated one time because I did a 100% completionist run of Jak and Daxter, and then I got fucking stuck and couldn't finish the game. I couldn't collect the one last thing, and I couldn't go anywhere, and I couldn't do anything, and I got stuck in a box, and I was like, fuck. Was I upset? Yes. Was it an experience? Yes. Is that exactly what I wanted? Exactly what I wanted. I want nothing less. If the game doesn't function, you shouldn't be fucking releasing it. Nintendo, you're huge, and it's a fucking port, my guys. Bruh.
A physical copy of the video game 10, 15, or 20 years ago. As the Court of Justice of the European Union stated many times, last time it was...
Bethesda intensifies no bugs, only features. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. It's one of the best things about physical copies of older games. Is that you finish the game, you publish the game, you release the game. You can't fucking fix it now. It's too late. Everybody's already got their copies. I fucking love that shit. I fucking love that shit.
Case C
I like neat bugs.
15 of November 2016, copyright must adapt to new economic developments. And this means nothing less than an obligation to interpret provisions of the EU law in dynamic, progressive manner. And when it comes to the solution, I wouldn't be myself if I wouldn't put a Latin phrase in it. Da mihi factum dabo tibi ius. Give me facts and I'll give you the law. And the facts are that consumers are left without adequate protection when it comes to the digital distribution of the video games. And society faces the risk of permanently losing cultural heritage in the form of video games. And the law It is created in this very room, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
And that's a good point. It's like, for example, just because something is, we don't need to always have new shit. Sometimes the older shit is good, or equally as good, or equally as valid. So, like, I don't think that there's a so this is the same, I feel the same way about, like, reruns on TV. Right? Like, I think that the old Pinky and the Brain and Animaniacs and Gargoyles were great shows, and I'm not interested in Bluey. That doesn't mean Bluey isn't good, but it does, just because Bluey exists doesn't mean Gargoyles is bad, right? So we don't need to constantly have, like, this influx of new shit, especially when it is bad. Right? Like, what's the point? And the point is just to make money. It's why I don't mind spending money to buy Pokemon Fire Red again. Because I'm like, yeah, no, I don't have access to it again anymore. You want to make it fucking give it to me? Yeah, like, yeah, I will pay you money for that because it's equally as fucking good as the first time. Right? So, like, for example, or like, what's another example? If I buy a movie, like Aladdin was a great movie. I can sit down and watch Aladdin. If I don't have a copy of Aladdin anymore, I should be able to go find Aladdin again. Now, if Disney wants to make it available. But what Disney shouldn't do is if I buy a digital copy of Aladdin and then say, well, we're putting it back in the vault, you don't get your digital copy anymore. Yo, what the fuck?
Thank you so much for answering all the members' questions and also putting some Latin in our European Parliament. We now come to the second.
But double check with Metatron to make sure the Latin was pronounced correctly.
Round of members and questions and remarks. We start with Peter Agius, EPP, and you now have all 1 minute per person.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, Amazon Prime.
Big thanks to the organizers. Very, very smart presentation, very clear. I think you make a point loud and clear for all of us. Protection of consumers online should include protection of gamers online. I have heard in the same committee rooms 100 times that what counts online should count offline, or the contrary. And from the presentations and even from the Commission response, it is clear here we're speaking about unfair contract terms, misleading advertising, producer responsibility, and right to repair. All of these are put into question here. Briefly, I think I also have 3 kids at home, 3 teenagers, all of them are gamers. And there is also a point which is interesting here. There is a point of return on investments as well. Because I noticed that my kids...
I think you're right. If I'm paying $20 for Leaf Green, you wouldn't pay $60. I think it's totally fine to, like, have your discussion about what is a reasonable amount that you're willing to pay for a game, right? That's as long as you're clear about what you're buying, which is part of, like, their issue here, right?
Definitely pressing F for the signatures. Let me maybe be the first MEP here, even though I'm not sure with my colleague from the Greens to speak.
I don't think that's the right reference, but thanks for trying.
Speak as a gamer, not as an MEP that I have been for 20 years. And I've been through it all, what you guys described.
Oh, F to pay respects. But then it's dead. That's no, I don't know. No, that's wrong. I think that's the wrong one, dude. But okay.
I've seen the good side of it when it was a community that saved Mount and Blade, Napoleonic Wars, and I've been through the bad side of it when I bought the crew, a few months before they just turned it down.
This guy's so sad.
Maybe to illustrate the point, even though I also think you already realized that you have big support in this house, to illustrate the point one last time, I think a car is the perfect example. Just imagine you buy a car, a modern car. Every modern car has software. And after 2, 3, 5, 10 years, the car company decides to turn it down. And you can no longer start the engine.
Something, Tesla, something.
A very good colleague of mine here, sitting here in this room, said you have to stand for what's right because it's right. Even though if you're not affected personally. I am even affected personally, so I ask all my colleagues to support this very important initiative. Thank you very much.
Well, a lot of support statements, that makes the amount of questions and things actually to address very short. I think the point that was mostly mentioned was microtransactions, gambling inside games, loot boxes, all these kind of concepts that are also already partially addressed in the Digital Fairness Act. Yes, they are absolutely part of the problem. If I buy a game, let's say 60 euros, I know some friends, everyone here likely remembers the game Fortnite. I know some friends formerly from school that put a lot and lots of money into that game and into skins and other contents, and I used my money. I made a commercial transaction, so yes, it needs to be addressed. It is part of the issue. We have free-to-play games that are hugely, in this case, Fortnite being one of the examples, but many others. And we have cases where people put in 2,000 euros into skins, and just shutting that down and taking that away is ridiculous.
That's fair.
I think that should be all questions or statements.
Yep.
Maybe
Well
your honors
done.
would like to know that the Spanish Congress is working on a project of law regarding this matter, the loot boxes, and the current focus is to restrict the commercialization of loot boxes to minors.
Reasonable.
Since we're playing ping pong here, I'm going to add something too. We, at this very moment, to this day, in the California State Assembly, a bill that we've worked on is being brought in that also has microtransactions in them. We, in the first place, didn't actually look at them. The California State Assembly brought them in, so there is definitely room to add these things properly and find a good definition. Maybe not saying, okay, this is the product, but is there a commercial transaction going on? To address the issue, that would be an angle that the California State Assembly, for example, took.
Thank you so much. With that, I will give the floor back to the Commission, because there were actually also a lot of questions and also concrete action demands, I would interpret it. So probably you could reply to that.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Chair. Thank you, Anna. 2 points from our side. So, first of all, I mean, a big thank you for these exchanges, because I think it really clarifies again, and thank you for the good questions from all the MEPs. And first of all, I mean, indeed, the consumers are not completely unprotected. I mean, I mentioned and we discussed now some of the rules, but what is really important is to address this specific issue that we have now on the table. And that's the reason why with my team, we're really looking at it and in depth and looking at different options. And we are, as you know, at the same time preparing the Digital Fairness Act that was announced by the Commission for the end of this year. Second point was the reference to the ongoing case at national level carried out by UFC Que Choisir, suing Ubisoft for the closure of the game The Crew. There, I mean, the question some of you were asking is whether the Commission will be a party to this case. I mean, as you know, it's a national case.
Res points out, brings up Warframe. Warframe is a good example of doing it right, but Warframe and Warframe's developers are very, very community-oriented. Like, very, very community-oriented. So they are like an odd one out of the bunch in this regard.
So it follows really the French national legal proceedings, which is distinct really from the process that we have today with this European Citizens Initiative. So I also, Giuseppe, on the copyrights, give the floor to you.
Yes, and thanks very much. Very quickly, and to chip on what Axel Voss, who is the putative father of the copyright in the DSM directive. From a copyright viewpoint, the matter is a little tricky because there is no mandatory licensing imposed on video game developers. They enjoy contractual freedom to commercially exploit their works and determine the terms of the licenses.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
The framework does not provide for exceptions that cover end of life of a copyright product. Now, having said that, there is a provision in the directive on works that are no longer commercially available, and provides for the possibility of licensing such works through collective management organizations and cultural heritage institutions. Now,
so that would be like if a developer shut down a game and that game is no longer available and has not been available for X amount of time, then it would go into like sort of open source.
Problem, as pointed out by Mr. Repasi, is that cultural heritage institutions do not often hold in their libraries video games, and the provisions of the DSM directive of out-of-commerce works, which are set out in Article 8, include a number of conditions which may be difficult to meet for video games. Not the least, the possibility for the video games, for the right holders basically to opt out from the exceptions. Having said
there's also like that again what we said earlier. This is not really something this is about going forward, not about trying to do things retroactively. If it's possible to do it retroactively and that's a project that people want to work on and try to do, sure, great. Nobody's saying don't do that, but this is not. There's nobody's requiring EA to make Ultima. What is it? Ultima 9? The crazy shit one that they made. Like nobody's clamoring for them to retroactively make that available. You know what I mean?
That we are now undertaking a review of the copyright in the DSM directive. We will give it a very good thought, and we will revert fully on this issue in July. Thank you.
So that's coming back in July.
Thank you very much. So this concludes our hearing. I mean, I can just say that I heard a lot of support from basically all the political groups for your initiative, and I can congratulate you.
It's really nice to hear that it's got so much support from all of these other groups that are tangentially or directly related.
Again, for the great work you have done, and all the citizens that were also engaged in the topic. I would just at the end give the floor also to the vice chair of PETI again, and then to the jury chair if you want to for some concluding remarks, please.
Thank you, Chair. On behalf of PETI Committee, I obviously would like first to sincerely thank you everyone for the focused and constructive discussion we just had on the European Citizens Initiative Stop Destroying Video Games. And the hearing allowed us to fully listen to and assess the potential of the initiative. I would like to thank all the speakers who have brought further clarity to the issues under discussion. And today we have had the opportunity to understand directly from the organizers, experts and stakeholders about various challenges that arise when video games become unplayable after sale due to discontinued services or disabled access. And this initiative highlights a real concern for millions, and as far as we understand from the presentations, probably hundreds of millions European citizens, ensuring that digital purchases remain functional and that consumer rights are respected in the evolving digital landscape. I trust that the insights shared today will inform our continued work and will provide the European Commission with a clear understanding of the importance citizens attach to this matter. I encourage all participants to maintain the constructive dialogue and to consider the concrete proposals and experience discussed here as we move forward. Thank you once again for the contributions.
Yeah, all right, so my thoughts on this. I think that went incredibly well. I think they covered most of their bases. I didn't hear anything like really out of pocket. I heard a couple of interesting ideas like the right to repair and making things available in a library and things like that I think are great ideas. I think they're going to be successful. I think they're going to get exactly what they want. They might not get everything, but I think they're going to get what they want. How long it's going to take? I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing it from like a political standpoint of like watching some of the stuff that I've seen go through politics. Some stuff's moving really fast, like a lot faster than it was in the past. And part of that has to do with like everybody sort of extraditing themselves from the United States. Everybody is and like the the domination of the United States in markets, and that like video games are not excluded from that. Like Microsoft, for example, is one of the larger developers, AAA developers specifically, both in software and in hardware. So it doing things to protect their own citizens from companies that they view to be of foreign influence, specifically from the United States, that are preying and predatory towards their consumers might be a little bit more forward on people's minds than they think, right? Than you might think, and getting them done faster than you might think, right? You need to check the laws that might be in conflict. Yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna take some time, and is definitely very important. You don't want these things clashing, because that would be the opposite of what they're looking for, which is clarity and like something solid. I am curious to see in the long term, like in a far view, like 5, 10, 15 years, what this is gonna look like, what something like this is gonna have, what kind of effect is gonna have on things like social media and websites. Because it can be used as a reference to this, that, or the other thing when things move forward in that regard. I don't know. There's lots going on, so I'm curious. I'll keep an eye on it. I'm gonna keep talking about it for sure. But it looks like they did really good. Congratulations, good job on them. Good job on the lawyers. Good job, Ross. Good job, everybody involved. I'm impressed. I think they did a great job. What do I think should happen? I mean, I think this should be adopted by the EU, and then once it is adopted by the EU, it'll spread out. So, like, Canada will pick it up pretty fast. Some other... Australia would probably pick it up relatively quickly. New Zealand will probably pick it up pretty quickly. Like, once something like this happens in the EU, it's going to affect other things. Right? So, like, even if the United States doesn't change their law, if the EU does it, then most video game companies that are even United States based that want to sell their games in the EU need to follow the EU's rules. So if you want a really good example of this, Elon Musk's Tesla and Apple having proprietary plugs. So they still have proprietary plugs in America, and when I say America, I mean the United States and in Canada, and I believe in Mexico. But they don't have proprietary plugs in the EU. I think Canada should also adopt that. I'm hoping to see that with the political shift and the global political shift that's happening, I'm hoping to see Canada pick up some of the laws that we haven't done because of our relationship with the United States. So, yeah, exactly, Dapper. Once it happens in the EU, it barely even matters if it's done elsewhere. They'll have to comply to sell in the EU, so they'll comply worldwide. In some cases, yes. Specifically for stuff like this. Whereas Tesla and Apple were kind of able to circumvent it, I don't think the digital space makes that as easily doable. But yeah, the EU for stuff like this is definitely a powerhouse, you're right. For sure. Yes, Sapphire, I agree. The United States has gotten comfortable free riding on the EU customer perceptions instead of building their own. Well, I think that has a lot to do with, like, corpo corruption, as it were. Yeah, I think that if this passes in the EU and if it's moving as fast as it looks like it might be, I think this might end up moving faster than I think people think, because I think there's, like, not any real reason not to. Like, as much as a video game company might lobby against it, I have a hard time believing that's gonna... that it's gonna slow it down very much. Canada will likely move towards homogenization of laws and structure with the EU, like food standards. Yeah, probably. I think in some ways, I think Canada's gonna, like, remain doing its own thing, but Canada wants to work with everybody. So what I think Canada is gonna end up doing is they're gonna end up playing the middleman, where Canada's gonna be like, all right, tell you what, we're gonna negotiate our standards here, we're gonna negotiate our standards here, and we're gonna act as, like, we're gonna help you and you by being like, here's the standards that work for both of you, let's fucking hip-hop this around. So I think that's... What does fast mean in this context? A couple of years. Yeah, everywhere kind of has their own. I think Canada, because the position that Mark Carney is moving Canada in does, in my opinion, seem to be that he wants Canada to be open and able to trade and compromise and work together as much as possible. So making sure that our laws enable as opposed to disable, that is probably the direction you're going to see it go. I don't know how much that's going to mean adopting varying food standards. Like, I don't know how much adoption is going to take place, or as opposed to, like, adaptation or exceptions. We'll see. I don't know how exactly it's going to go through, but I think that might be the direction it's going. The Tesla plug did get turned into a standard. Good. Fuck you, Tesla. I fucking hate that company. I really don't like Apple either. I'm really hoping with stuff like this and with stuff like the directions that Canada and the rest of the world is taking, I'm really hoping that it breaks up some of the monopolies currently held by the United States. Or, like, basically monopolies. So, like, Alphabet. Alphabet has, like, a pretty solid monopoly on things like YouTube, right? YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky, like almost all of social media is running through the United States right now, and I really hope that we get to see more variety and more options and like viable options. Like there's not really any real viable options for YouTube. Hey, Warren, what are you doing? Hey, you caught me right at the end. What's going on? Did you see what Debate Hub is doing? Did you see? I'm excited. I'm hyped about it. We making the best debate space. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I think 18 months is too optimistic for sure. 3 years? Yeah, I think. Thank you very much for the stretch over on Twitch. Yeah, 3 years and then 2 years. Yeah, it's gonna take time to implement, so yeah. Yeah, between 3 and 5 years seems to have it, like, up running and have like, a standard set. Yeah, I think is... I wouldn't be surprised if it takes a little bit less than 5 years, because, again, like I said, things are moving really quickly right now, for reasons. From a global political standpoint, so... We'll see. I could see smaller things, because this to me is like what I'm viewing it as like a quote unquote smaller issue. So like what I would say is like a big or a major priority issue is like military, food, housing, economic crises. Those are currently like major issues. So I view this as something that's relatively minor that would help the like do a mini economy, like it's a good thing for the economy. So, like, I imagine this is going to go through relatively quickly because it's, like, we got other bigger shit to do, and this is not something that is, like, dragging, right? 5 years to have the policy implemented, 7 years for the Western world to fall in line. I think that might be... I think it'll be shorter than that. I think normally I would expect that. I think with the way this is going and the way things are moving, I think that might be a little faster. Maybe 4 and 6, maybe 3 and 5. Probably longer than 3 years. I just think the West is going to move a little bit faster than... well, I shouldn't say the West. I think that, like, Australia, New Zealand, maybe. Canada... will probably all fall in line faster than 7 years. I mean, California is also looking at this, and California is Silicon Valley. California is, like, the hub for stuff like this in the United States, so for all I know, California is gonna fucking set this up and then tell the federal government to suck its nads, which it's kind of been doing the whole time, so, you know. The thing is California is, in the United States, an economic powerhouse. So it's got so much fucking money, so they can kind of, like, throw their weight around, right? Yeah, basically. Alright, anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. I hope you guys had a good time. I hope you guys enjoyed this shit. Metatron's a fucking idiot. Good job, Stop Killing Games. Keep going strong. I'm very, very, very impressed by their showing here. I think they did a fantastic job. Good job, guys and gals. Keep it up over there. You got my support. And I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, California has, like, the biggest economy in, like, what, third biggest economy, fourth biggest economy in the world as a singular state compared to countries. Yeah, it's absurd. California is, like, it's, like, grotesque. It's just some Nurgle shit going on here. All right. Aussie gamers are just as pissed as the EU ones. Yeah, no doubt. All right, okay, bye. Have a good day, everybody. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, 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 bye. Mwah!